much since the last time they've done a Team Pro Tour that I think it's worth trying out again and seeing, well, what is the public's perception of Team and how much do they actually want to see it on camera? Because I think it would be a lot. I mean, it's obviously going to be a lot of fun to play. I think it'd actually be a lot of fun to watch too.
All right, well, let's talk about our feature match that we have in front of us. Alex Tamblyn on the left, Gregory Hatch on the right. Greg is playing a blue-white Helm Miracles deck list. You have the deck list in front of you.
Yeah, and it's, typical deck has Sensei's Divining Top, 4 Sensei's Divining Top, 3 counterbalances. He has 3 main deck Rest in Peace, which is going to be good against some of the Dredge players we've been seeing around here. 1 main deck Blood Moon. He has 1 Enlightened Tutor to actually search for some of his bullets, like Energy Field. He has some Miracle cards, like 3 Terminus and 1 Entreat the Angels. And then other typical control cards, like Brainstorm, Force of Will, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Swords to Plowshare, etc. And, typical sort of like a blue-white Miracle controlling deck, but he has that, Helm of Obedience combo that can just, win in games.
Yeah, just kill you right away. Helm of Obedience plus Energy Field, I believe it is the combo there. Take a look at Alex Tamblyn's deck list. He is playing a Bug Agent deck, the old Bug Charlotte's Agent deck that Jerry Thompson had made popular, cascading into Ancestral Visions. He also has 4 copies of Abrupt Decay, your 4 Brainstorms, your 4 Thought Seizes, 3 copies of Hymn to Torak, 3 Jace the Mind Sculptor, just a couple of Force of Wills, just 2 in the main deck. He's got the other 2 in the sideboard to help improve his combo matchups. 1 Maelstrom Pulse, 1 Silver Library, and 1 Sensei's Divining Top to be able to control some of the things that he can do there. His creatures are 4 Charlotte's Agents, 4 Tarmogoyfs, and 4 Deathrite Shaman. So not the exact list that you just saw Jerry and Todd Anderson playing a couple months ago, but very reminiscent and, the same strategy overall.
Yeah, and, it'd be interesting to see what happens here. We know Hymn to Torak is generally good against Force of Will decks. Looks like both players are on their cell phones tweeting at each other, but
yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm not sure who has the advantage exactly, but Alex does have Hymn to Torak against Greg's Force of Wills, which is pretty good, and he also has 4 Abrupt Decay to deal with counterbalance. So I think if I had to guess, I would say Alex probably has an advantage game 1.
Counterbalance is a card that has fallen out of flavor quite a bit over the past couple of months simply because of Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay hit the scene in a hard way, and a lot of people were trying to figure out where to go about putting that card. People started with black, green, white strategies, and they decided, white's fine or whatever, but I'd rather put this side by side with Brainstorm. So that's where you saw the bug strategies come up, and then again, you saw the influence of Reed Duke pushing Jun to the forefront for Grand Prix Denver. Jun became a little bit more mainstream. You saw Josh Ravis make top 4. You saw Pat Cox lose in the finals to Vidiato Wajaya. And now you see the Jun deck become more popular. So you see these Abrupt Decay decks really pushing Counterbalance out right now. But Greg, no fear, 2-1 right now, as is Alex. We'll see which one of these players is going to win and keep moving on to try to make top 8 this weekend.
And looks like Alex's hand, his opener is pretty good. He's got a Misty Rainforest. He also has a Brainstorm, Abrupt Decay, Force of Will, Thought Seize, and a Hymn to Torak, which again is a pretty important card in this matchup.
Pretty gosh darn good hand. Well, so we are underway here, both players here in round 4 of 9 here in the SCG Open Series Legacy Open.
I think we're going to get a turn 1 Thought Seize here, or turn 1 Brainstorm. What do you think?
I would think it would be a discard spell given the option. I don't know if either player knows what the opponent's playing, but you do see an Abrupt Decay over there as well. And you are going to see a Thought Seize. And Greg is going to reveal the goods. You see a Taiga, black bordered one, Energy Field, Rest in Peace.
I don't think Alex has to worry about that, although it does make his Tarmogoyfs and Deathrite Shamans much worse, but he has Abrupt Decay for it, so.
You see an Arid Mesa, a Ponder, an Enlightened Tutor, and a Jace the Mind Sculptor. So a decent hand there for Greg. He does have a Ponder to kind of smooth things out. Enlightened Tutor, search for some pieces. Jace, once we do get into the mid to late game, is the card that kind of takes over in these matchups. And then he does have the combo there of Energy Field, Rest in Peace to make sure he can't be dealt any damage. But again, it's not particularly good in this matchup because Abrupt Decays are in Alex's deck.
So what do you take here? Kind of like taking the Ponder.
I like taking the Ponder too, honestly. Greg's hand is a little bit meh without the Ponder. The Ponder is really going to be there to smooth things out, make sure Greg can hit his land drops, maybe find some Brainstorms and some other things. And I think Ponder is the most dangerous one here. Rest in Peace is okay, depending on the contents of Alex's hand. you know, if he does have some number of Tarmogoyfs, but you know, I think that's the best card, Jace being the second best card.
I like that sweet zoom in we just had. Very cinematic.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice feature. Here, one that we don't use often.
Thank our director for that one.
Yeah.
So Alex still pondering his decision, pun intended.
Yeah. And right now they are getting the Oracle text on Energy Field because that is a foreign energy field there. It's a card that we can't bring up on screen for you guys, so you guys can't take a look at it. And the reason that he had to get that Oracle text is because it is foreign, and this is what happens when you borrow a deck from Jacob Corey, a legacy player based out of Southern California. Has a beautiful collection. I actually ended up borrowing my Goblin Charbelcher deck from him for Grand Prix Denver, and it was nice. And Greg is borrowing a deck from him as well. That's why you're going to see those that black border tiger there. Yeah. Jacob has a very nice collection. You had better believe that Greg had to double sleeve it this morning, as I had to at Grand Prix Denver.
So Alex does, in fact, take the Ponder. Energy Field, a card I actually haven't seen play since like 1998. I think I played that card in like a mono blue control deck against red deck wins.
It's a fun card, you know, a weird card to see blue have, but it is unique in what it does, and sometimes it's horrible, and sometimes it's really good.
Yeah. So Greg still has the Enlightened Tutor in his hand. He could search for a Sensei's Divining Top if he chooses to sort of help smooth out his draws. Looks like he drew a Detention Sphere, so still only has 2 mana right now. Might want to search for a top to sort of help smooth out his draws and make maybe a counterbalance better later on, but.
You are going to see a Verdant Catacombs here from Alex, end up taking a damage here. We see a Hymnotorac. Might search out a Bayou as well this turn, and that's what you are going to see.
Yeah, so his mana's pretty much set now. It doesn't look like Gregory actually has any Wastelands in his deck, so Alex doesn't have to fear that in this matchup. And, you know, it'd be interesting to see if Greg decides to cast Enlightened Tutor in response to the Hymnotorac.
Yeah.
I wonder how important he thinks the top is right now. I mean, given the fact that he only has 1 mana and he has cards like Rest in Peace, Energy Field, which again, against Abrupt Decay isn't that great.
Yeah.
And a Jace, a 4-mana Jace. He's also got Attention Sphere, so not much action and very little mana, so he might decides to not cast Enlightened Tutor. I think he's just going to try to hope to draw out of this more naturally.
Yeah, just go ahead and let that resolve. You know, if you're Greg, you're hoping he doesn't blow up a land here. And we'll see which 2 go away. Enlightened Tutor and Energy Field.
So that's no longer an option. So losing the Energy Field is not bad. Again, losing the Arid Mesa would have been huge, but
yeah.
Does draw another land. Looks like a Scalding Tarn. So
he does dodge a bit of a bullet here, as you're going to see Greg sacrifice that Arid Mesa.
Looks like we might see Rest in Peace hit play. Which again, will turn off the Deathrite Shamans and the Tarmogoyfs for the time being until Alex decides to use the Abrupt Decay on it.
Yeah, and it may actually force the hand of the Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, I don't see Alex forcing this. Don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Considering that he already has the Abrupt Decay.
And you see the cards in his hand. He has a Brainstorm to go with that Force of Will, and Abrupt Decay, and a Mystery card there that I can't make out. But if he does choose to Force of Will this, it will cost him his Brainstorm. And the other card is a Shardless Agent.
Okay. So yeah, if he manages to draw a 3rd land here, we could see Shardless Agent come into play. Probably hoping to hit an Ancestral Visions.
Yeah.
Then he's in pretty good shape. He still has the Brainstorm, has a Force of Will, and it still has that Abrupt Decay that we said.
But he is going to have to find land number 3 to be able to do that. So we'll see what Alex draws this turn. And it is a Misty Rainforest. So Shardless Agent is online if that's the route he wants to take, because you do see Misty Rainforest come into play. And the other thing he can do here, of course, is set up a Brainstorm here.
My only issue with that is that I think he wants. I don't know. I think he wants all the cards in his hand. I mean, I know that you can set up an Ancestral Visions if one's on top of your deck, but again, I think I think I would have preferred to just cast the Shardless Agent there. But again, it's fine. I like having Brainstorm later in the game if you start getting land flooded.
Sure.
You don't need to cast it.
Yeah, the AJ Soccer School of Thought. Whenever you cast Brainstorm, it's wrong. You're just supposed to hold it as long as you possibly can. As you do say, Sensei's Divining Top here from Greg for his draw step.
Yeah, so now this is a tough spot for Alex because if he wants to force it, he might have to pitch. He might have to end up, if he casts Brainstorm in response, he might end up having to pitch his Shardless Agent to actually use the force. So looks like top might be on the stack right now.
Yeah, and you see him sacrificing land right away, which is a little bit interesting here. Looks like he's going to do some sort of setting up here with the Brainstorm and the Shardless Agent. Maybe he's going to put the Abrupt Decay back on top, so he just cascades into that. You know, we'll figure out what he's trying to set up here. It's not often you see a Brainstorm in the hand and a fetch land sacked away.
So it looks like we're going to get the Brainstorm first. Yep.
Okay. So Brainstorm's going to resolve. You see Maelstrom Pulse,
Jace the Mind Sculptor,
and Thoughtseize.
So not ideal. And you see, here's the thing where you know, you can put the Maelstrom Pulse 2 to the bottom if he wants to, or you can put it on top 2 to the bottom if he wants to just pass through it with the Shardless Agent.
Yeah.
And try to hit Ancestral Visions. But it looks like he might.
Well, this looks like an end step Brainstorm, so he's going to have to draw one of these cards.
Okay, so it looks like he put the Maelstrom Pulse on top of his library, so he'll be drawing that. And if he decides to cast Shardless Agent, then he will in fact be getting into a Thoughtseize.
Okay.
Which is, you know, not bad. It's going to take out the Jace the Mind Sculptor.
And so now you see Abrupt Decay here. Going to take care of that Rest in Peace, which is something we thought we might see.
I think they're questioning whether or not it's in the graveyard.
Yeah, which zones the Abrupt Decay is in, which zone the Rest in Peace is in. And now you're going to see Shardless Agent here from Alex. And it's going to turn over that Thoughtseize that we know about from the Cascade. And that wants to take care of... That's going to want to take care of Greg's Jace the Mind Sculptor that he has in his hand that we saw earlier.
And now Greg might be digging for a Brainstorm, which will allow him, I mean, he'll have to lose his Sensei's Divining Top, but it looks like he has 2 Chases on top of his deck, so pretty good draw there.
Yeah, that's fine.
So he's going to lose the one in his hand, but he will draw a 4th land, and then can activate the top to draw one of the other Jaces, and cast it that turn, and then Brainstorm, if he chooses.
Now, the only problem here, of course, is you do see Jace the Mind Sculptor and Detention Sphere of the cards in his hand, is that Alex does have a Force of Will and a Jace the Mind Sculptor in his hand, so he can fight over the first Jace, and if Greg does elect to, you know, draw that island for his turn, activate Sensei's Divining Top, draw a Jace, sacrifice the fetch land, and cast it, he's going to shuffle that top away, and his Jace is going to get Force of Will. So
yeah,
there will be some issue here. It's certainly not just immediately going to resolve. And again, you're also looking at a Maelstrom Pulse in Alex's hand as well that can take care of a Jace, but letting a Jace Brainstorm is definitely dangerous.
Might want to just maybe he wants to just play the island and Detention Sphere, the Shardless Agent. I mean, it's not the worst play in the world. You don't expose yourself to cards like Thoughtseize or Hemtork anymore, you know, there's not that many threats in Alex's deck. So like you have 2, maybe you're just going to be, you know, you're drawing 2 Jace the Mind Sculptors in the next 2 turns. Alex has no pressure on you. You know, Alex could waste a Maelstrom Pulse on a Detention Sphere, but I doubt he will.
We are going to see Detention Sphere here from Greg. He's going to take care of that Shardless Agent. Again, if it does get Maelstrom Pulse, Cascade will not happen again. That only happens when you cast it. Alex does draw a Thoughtseize. So
you know, it worked out well for Greg, so he doesn't have to worry about any of the discards. So any discard spell Alex draws is basically effectively dead. And now he draws the Jace. Now the question is, do you wait a turn?
Yeah.
You know. Again, the tricky thing here is that, you know, we know that Alex drew a Thoughtseize, so it looks like he's going to be able to deal with at least one Jace the Mind Sculptor with a Force of Will. will he be able to deal with the other one with the Thoughtseize?
Yeah, that's the big question. As you see, Greg is going to activate Sensei's Divining Top this turn. He's going to get some information here. He knows there's a Jace the Mind Sculptor there. Can't really make out the other two cards all that well.
Looks like an energy field is one of them. Yeah, so I think he's going to he's just going to pass the turn. So Charlotte's Agent is actually a good draw for Greg because it means that the Thoughtseize won't get cast. Yep. More likely Alex will just try to cascade. Hopefully might hit something like a Deathrite Shaman or Tarmogoyf, which is, not the worst thing. Again, he can... I think Tarmogoyf is currently a 3-power creature. We
will get our Tarmogoyf die out there for you guys at home so we can figure out just how large that's going to be. As there is a Planeswalker in the graveyard among some other things here, so it's certainly not small, but we'll find out exactly how big it is, and it looks to be a 3/4 right now.
So, with the Tarmogoyf and a Charlotte's Agent in play, Greg might be thinking that Jace isn't going to be enough. Maybe I need like a Terminus or something, so maybe I should just sack to Scalding Tarn and set up my deck. He already knows what the top 3 cards are, but maybe he's just forgot.
Considering rearranging here, maybe.
Yeah. Tarmogoyf certainly changes things a little bit. Yeah, because you can't really play the Jace and bounce the Goyf and expect the Jace to survive through the Charlotte's Agent attack. Yep. So, looks like he's going to plan on just untapping. Maybe just using the Brainstorm ability of Jace if he gets it to resolve.
And he's considering casting turn back, but now he's going to tap 3 mana on his turn. So let's see what this is going to be. This is going to be a Vendilion card.
Oh, okay.
He's going to get some information here.
So, not a bad turn here. He'll be able to at least trade with the Charlotte's Agent, take a Force of Will out of Alex's hand if it resolves, or a Jace.
That makes you wonder, too, if you're Alex. He's sitting at 13, so his life total is pretty good right now. But you do see the Thoughtseize, the Jace the Mind Sculptor, the Force of Will, and the Maelstrom Pulse. He didn't. He drew Charlotte's Agent the previous turn, which prevented him. I wouldn't say prevented him, but he chose not to cast Thoughtseize. You can maybe guess that maybe Greg is sandbagging a land, something like that. But you have to put the read on. Do I want to cast the Thoughtseize here? Do I want to pick a better spot for it? I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with that right now. And if you're Greg, you're hoping he doesn't cast the Thoughtseize. But if you're Alex, maybe you want to now, maybe you don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think at this point, Alex it's reasonable for Alex to assume that it's not a land, because if it was a land, you'd imagine Greg would probably play it so that he could activate his top and then use the Scalding Tarn if he chooses.
Okay.
Because a fetch land is pretty important. So I think if Alex is likely to cast Thoughtseize now, at least he's more likely to cast it now than he was the turn before.
Yeah, because now he can play 3 spells in one turn. He can go Deathrite Shaman, Thoughtseize you. And that'll leave him with the Force of Will and Maelstrom Pulse, but that's a pretty good turn.
Yeah, and again, last turn I think it was reasonable to sort of assume that it's possible he has a land in his hand. So I'll just cast a Charlotte's Agent to get a little more value.
Sure.
But if Greg does have a land in his hand, I think if you're Alex, you can probably figure out that he would have likely played it so that he could activate his top and then decide to sack the Scalding Tarn if he wasn't happy with those 3 cards, and then activate the top again.
Sure.
I don't think he'd be sandbagging a land here.
Now you're going to see Greg take 5 from that attack from the Tarmogoyf and the Charlotte's Agent. And now we're going to see what road Alex decides to take. As you're going to start with a Deathrite Shaman.
So now it looks like he might not cast Thoughtseize, because he probably would have done it before the Deathrite Shaman. But
I think that maybe he would lead out with that.
Yeah, you think he'd lead with the Thoughtseize, so he might decide to not cast it.
Deathrite Shaman. He does just pass the turn.
Pass the turn.
Now the interesting thing here, is that Deathrite Shaman's come down. He's sandbagging that Thoughtseize. Greg knows about that as well. He also knows about the Force of Will and the Maelstrom Pulse. So Greg is working on perfect information right now. But how good is the Jace that Greg has in his hand right now? That's the big question.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just going to be a 4-mana Brainstorm.
Yeah.
At this point.
I don't feel like a 4-mana Brainstorm is going to get him very far right now.
No, there's there's a lot of creatures on Alex's side of the board. 2 Deathrite Shamans is actually pretty huge, and they're threatening to do 2, 4, 6, 9 damage next turn, and Greg's already at 14, so and he might take another point from his Scalding turn. So definitely a lot of damage on the other side of the board for Greg. So yeah, Jace just might not be good enough. He might have to try to start digging for a Terminus here.
You see Greg doing a little bit of math here.
And he still has the top in play. But the good thing about Jace here is, though, it's going to be effectively like a Brainstorm and a Fog for the turn. Sure. Because Alex is likely going to attack it with everything.
Well, the question is, does he even need to attack it? He has the Maelstrom Pulse in his hand. He can just pulse it and keep moving right along.
That's true. Either way, though, it's not the worst scenario for Greg because it gives him a Brainstorm. Alex basically, I wouldn't say waste, but he doesn't spend the turn developing his board anymore. He will use a Maelstrom Pulse on the Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Greg basically will have more or less 6, 7 cards to look for a Terminus that'll allow him to sort of clear the board.
And he does have 3 copies of that card in his deck. So now you are going to see Jace the Mind Sculptor come into play.
Alex only has a Thoughtseize and a Force of Will, so he's not able to actually pitch a blue card to the Force of Will to stop it.
And now we'll see exactly what Greg wants to do with this thing. Does he want to Fate Seal with it? Does he want to unsummon something? There's a lot of different things he can do, but it is just going to be a Brainstorm here. You see Force of Will and 2 Flooded Strands are the cards that he does find. He puts 2 cards back right away.
It looks like not sure what that last card is.
He put back the 2 Flooded Strands. He has Force Will and Jace in his hand.
Okay.
So he can fight over a Maelstrom Pulse right now, and he can chump block that Tarmogoyf. Vendilion Clique is definitely on defense right now. So Alex has got some decisions to make here. As you see, Verdant Catacombs the draw for him.
Which again is pretty good because it allows him to Thoughtseize and Maelstrom Pulse at the same turn if he chooses to.
And there you see, he does cast a Thoughtseize. Greg shows him the Jace the Mind Sculptor and the Force of Will. And certainly no reason to fight over this with Force of Will.
No, I'm surprised Greg actually didn't keep one of the lands so that he could top this turn too. Because again, I think he has to think, knowing the Maelstrom Pulse is coming, he has to think that Terminus is probably pretty important draw for him.
That's the big one right now.
And the thing is, if he's able to resolve a Terminus, it's really not that bad for him because he'll have more mana than Alex. Alex has no creatures in play, no real gas left in his hand, sure. And Greg still has a top.
Sure.
So I think I might have preferred to just maybe even keep both lands. I mean, Alex has a Thoughtseize. Yep. The Force of Will is not doing anything for you right now. Yep. Probably he's not going to do anything for you the next game. So why not just keep 2 lands? Alex wastes the Thoughtseize basically, and now you have 2 lands. You can choose not to top if you want, but I still think you sack your land, and now you have a second sack land to again search, recycle your top. Sure. So I think I would have preferred to keep both sack lands actually.
Now Maelstrom Pulse is going to take care of that Vendilion Clique. Tarmogoyf's going to grow a little bit here, and now you see. Is he going to attack the Jace? Is he going to attack Greg straight up? Because, he could attack him for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, put Greg down to 4. But you see Tarmogoyf's going to come across him with Deathrite Shaman, going to knock Greg down some life, and Jace is going to bite the dust. So now Greg is looking at a lethal attack next turn, and it certainly is OSIP Terminus time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Alex can't kill Greg this turn no matter what, but he can definitely kill him next turn, even if he attacks Jace once. So definitely wants to get rid of the Jace. Greg's a little behind now because he wasn't able to top last turn. He could have sacked the Flooded Strand, shuffled his deck, and then give himself more opportunity to find Terminus. So now he basically is only going to have 2 chances to try to dig for a Terminus. So he does have 1 Flooded Strand.
You're going to see a top activation main phase here. Flooded Strand is the top card. You see Island, and I believe that last card is a Force of Will. It might be a counterbalance. Yeah. Either way, it is not Terminus. So those are going to go back. Greg is going to have to play that Flooded Strand and sacrifice that right away. Going to push him down to 6. And you're going to see another top activation, most likely on the main phase here.
Yeah, and again, if he does manage to find a Terminus in the top 3 cards, he can pass the turn, On Alex's upkeep, you can activate the Senses Divine top, draw the Terminus, and cast it off a Miracle.
Gotta find it, though.
Gotta find it. But he's gonna get at least one more shot, so. Could also find a Brainstorm, which would give him a little bit more to work with, but not much. Be sure to keep a white mana up.
Three Helm, Brainstorm.
But I don't think that's going to be enough because the top goes on top of his library anyway to draw the Brainstorm. And then I think you'll end up just seeing top, Brainstorm, Helm anyway. So, yep.
So yeah, he would draw a card with the top. He would cast Brainstorm here.
Yeah, but you know, again, he's just going to see top.
Yeah.
But he can. I think he can cast He can cast the top again.
So he's going to put 2 cards. So what he's going to do is he's going to put 2 cards away. So the top card of his deck before he sets it to is the mystery card.
So he's got one. The third card at the bottom has to be a Terminus, basically. He's going to be able to Brainstorm.
Yeah, but that's not the first card that he draws for the turn.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So I don't think. Yeah, this
I think he just realized.
Yeah, I think he just realized that. Yeah, it's not going to be the card. It's not going to be the first card that he draws.
Yeah,
and he just concedes. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as well. But yeah, it's not the first card that he draws for the turn. He came to the same realization we did, and then he's going to concede the game. So Alex Tamblyn is up a game here with Bug Agent against Gregory Hatch in his blue-white Helm's Miracle deck.
Yeah, and you know, it's unfortunate because if Gregory keeps 2 Flooded Strands instead of that Jace and the Force of Will, he might get a couple more chances to dig for a Terminus. But you know, either way, he's basically on a 3-outer at that point. So not great odds, but this is Las Vegas, so
yeah. I mean, we've seen other players get a little bit fortunate this weekend.
We saw it last night.
Jensen. Excuse me. Pardon me. I know that you have Alex's. Actually, you have Greg's deck list in front of you. I'm sure there's a smattering of one-ofs in his sideboard, as these decks often look like.
Yeah.
So what's he got for help here?
All right. Well, he's got.
I gave you the tough one.
He's got Humility. He's got 1 Divert. He's got 1 Counterspell, 2 Meddling Mage, 2 Flusterstorm, 1 Aethersworn Canonist, 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Cursed Totem, 1 Relic of Progenitus, 1 Tormod's Crypt, 1 Disenchant, 1 Red Elemental Blast, and 1 Vendilion Clip. Honestly, this is a tough one. I think Humility is not the worst in this matchup. Kind of turns off the Deathrite Shaman, makes all the creatures 1/1s, and you know, Alex doesn't have that many creatures to attack with anyway, so making them tiny is certainly not the worst thing in the world. Aethersworn Canonist can shut down Charlotte's Agent, so you know, might think about bringing in one of those. Meddling Mage naming Abrupt Decay is not bad.
No, not too bad.
So might bring in a couple of Meddling Mages. Don't think you really need any of the other cards. None of the 1/0s seem too appealing. You know, don't really love Vendilion Click in this matchup. It's okay. But you know, you're contending with cards like Hymn to Torek and Thoughtseize anyway. So kind of want, I think, bigger spells. I think you know, Alex doesn't really put a lot of pressure on you. He's going to kind of attack your hand, and then he's going to have like try to finish you off with like a Charlotte's Agent or a Tarmogoyf or a Deathrite Shaman. So it's similar to like when you're playing against Jund in Standard. They're going to attack your hand, so you kind of want to set up your deck so that you can top deck backbreaking spells. And Humility is not a backbreaking spell, but it does, you know, give you plenty of time to draw cards like Entreat the Angels or, you know, Jace the Mind Sculptor or something. So I like Meddling Mage just because, you know, it can turn off an Abrupt Decay and maybe your counterbalance can start doing some real good work there.
Sure.
Divert, not a bad 1/of. You can divert an Ancestral Visions or a, you know, if you get lucky, off of the Cascade.
Definitely feeling a little fortunate if you get to divert some things.
Can divert a Hymn to Torek, you know, so not bad.
I know Greg pretty well. He's bringing Divert in.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, but, you know, beyond that, it's like, it's basically like Humility, Divert, Meddling Mage, and maybe an Aethersworn Canonist, but, you know, beyond that, nothing else.
Okay. Taking a look here at Alex's sideboard, Life from the Loam. Since these games are going to go pretty long, he's going to want to be able to make sure he can hit all of his land drops here. And he does have 3 Wastelands in his deck, so he can attempt to do a little bit of Wasteland locking here. Definitely see that card coming in. Also,
although you know that you saw Rest in Peace Game 1, do you think he'll still bring in Life?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Rest in Peace was more of an annoyance than anything. This deck doesn't have much trouble finding the Abrupt Decays with all the card drawing that it has, so I could see him bringing that in for sure. The additional Hymn to Torak will move him up to 4. 2 copies of Liliana the Veil, I think, are going to come in as well. And then besides that, I don't think anything else is really going to come in here. You know, he does have an additional Maelstrom Pulse. I'm not sure that he needs it. He has 2 more Force of Wills, but I actually expect him to board his Force of Wills out because it's such an attrition-based matchup that I don't think he wants to lose 2 cards to actually cast Force of Will. Then, you know, he's got cards like Nile Spellbomb, he's got Mindbreak Trap, Chill, a copy of Dark Blast, and then a one of Baleful Strix in the sideboard. Not quite sure what that's there for, but I'm sure AJ is pretty happy about that. But I expect to see, you know, the Life from the Loam, the Hymn to Torax, and the Liliana the Veils come in, and then just kind of move on from there.
Yeah, so I still think I like Greg's deck after board. You know, like you said, Force of Will is not great in this matchup. Yeah. It's really, a lot of people only play 3 Force of Wills, you know, just because you need something against decks like Show and Tell or Charbelcher, you know, kind of keeps you a little honest against the combo decks. But in a matchup like this, Greg doesn't really want like the Force of Will either, you know. You're contending with cards like Hymn to Torak. And so definitely see that coming out. But, you know, again, I still think Greg has the advantage just because he has the bigger spells, you know?
Yeah.
And even in that game, we saw Alex did a lot of things. He was the one basically casting all the spells and having all the action early on. But one top deck Terminus, which Greg can top deck, so to speak, with a Sensei's Divining Top, that would have swung the game back in Greg's favor. So, you know, I still think because this is sort of like a grindy, attrition-based matchup, the deck with the bigger, more powerful spells will win, and I think that's Greg's deck.
Okay. So we'll see exactly what these players are able to do as they're looking at their opening 7 here, see if they can keep their hands, and they are. You're going to see Greg start off with an island into a Sensei's Divining Top, so a very good start for him, as Alex does draw a Hymn to Torak. You see a creeping tar pit in his hand, and it looks like that's where he is going to start, as he does pass the turn back to Greg, who draws a Terminus.
Looks like we have multiple Hymn to Toraks in Alex's hand, so we're going to have to get a little lucky with the counterbalance here.
And you do see Greg
blind hits.
You do see Greg play a counterbalance. So turn 1, Sensei's Divining Top, turn 2 counterbalance. Dreaded combo here.
Dreaded combo that has been a nightmare for players for years.
No.
And here we go.
Torak. Barkeep.
Sadly.
Yeah, I promise you have to reveal it if you look. Okay.
And yes.
Source of Plowshares.
It is. So 2 cards could be getting discarded at random here.
So he'll take a hit from the first him here, but he'll be able to set things up moving forward with the Sensei's Divining Top.
You might see an upkeep top. Maybe he doesn't want to draw Path to Exile right here, or Source of Plowshares right here.
And you see, looks like Terminus and Island do bite the dust. Greg is going to upkeep the top there. Source of Plowshares, the top card. You see an Island and an Energy Field are the next ones.
So he has a card that can potentially stop a second Hymn to Torak.
Yep. You see in his hand, Greg has a Jace the Mind Sculptor, along with a Ponder here. And he is going to cast, looks like he's going to cast the Ponder. Maybe he just wants to get a little bit deeper into his deck, and he can still set that 2 on top.
It's good. He can draw the Scalding Tarn, which will give him 4 mana next turn, and he can still have the Energy Flux on top of his deck if he chooses. So. And it looks like that's exactly what. Did he keep it on top? So, okay. Either way, he can use the top to set it back up anyway.
So now you're going to see a Verdant Catacombs.
In fact, get the Abrupt Decay.
You see 2 copies of Ancestral Visions in Alex's hand. And he does just pass the turn back. Greg going to activate Sensei's Divining Top on the end step. Or is he? He might be happy with the Energy Field there.
And I think...
actually, he left Swords on top. And he does just pass the turn back.
Yeah, so looks like we might see an Abrupt Decay here. Brainstorm first.
Yep. Brainstorm first. Get the information. You see a hand of 2 Ancestral Visions. Tarmogoyf.
Oh, that's good. Another counter.
Yep. Yeah, another counterbalance there is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I thought that maybe he would have just cast Abrupt Decay first.
Sure.
To make sure that his Brainstorm resolves.
Sure.
Because he knows about the Swords to Plowshares, you know.
Now you're going to see Greg sacrifice this fetch land here. I mean,
So,
Alex could pull the trigger on the Abrupt Decay right now to break up the Sensei's Divining Top plus counterbalance, but he chooses not to. He could Abrupt Decay the top there.
Yeah, I think he just wants to get rid of the counterbalance.
Yeah. And Greg deciding that this Brainstorm is worth fighting over.
Yeah, and given how much Gregory is searching here, you'd think that maybe Alex would just still cast Abrupt Decay on the counterbalance while the trigger's on stack.
You see Rest in Peace Island fetch land there, so not a hit. And Greg looks content with how he wants to set that up.
And is he going to be activating the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is perfect now because now Alex can respond with an Abrupt Decay on the counterbalance.
Yep.
And he would basically be losing his Sensei's Divining Top for turn for no reason. If Alex really wants this Brainstorm to resolve, so it looks like Alex does let it resolve. Looks like Brainstorm will get countered.
So you saw what Greg did there. Greg activated the Sensei's Divining Top with 1. With that on stack, he's going to tap it to draw a card. So the draw card resolves first. Then he resolves the other thing that he put on the stack, which is look at the top 3 and rearrange them. So now we'll see how he's going to choose to rearrange them. He's happy with his order. So he's going to reveal Sensei's Divining Top. He's going to counter the Brainstorm. Goes through a lot. That's a lot of work to counter a Brainstorm, my friend.
A lot of work. And if Alex casts Abrupt Decay now, I really question that entire sequence. You know, I'm not sure if Alex was aware of you know. Yeah, it looks like that's.
And Abrupt Decay is going to take care of the counterbalance. Now, what don't you like about that? Is there anything in particular? Like,
no, I think Alex's plan was to Abrupt Decay the counterbalance the entire time.
okay,
I just would have responded to the activation at the top so that my Brainstorm resolves.
okay,
You know, because you know he doesn't have a 1-drop on top of his deck.
sure.
You know.
Well, the counterbalance is still on the stack. Like the effect is still on.
Oh yeah, but like there were a couple of turns where you could have just Abrupt Decay or at least cast Abrupt Decay first on the counterbalance.
Okay.
And then cast Brainstorm.
And then cast Brainstorm,
you know?
Sure. So you think you just feel like he did it in the
yeah, like
incorrect
the
order.
sequencing
Sure.
was just incorrect.
Sure.
You know?
As you'll see, Hymnotoric there on Greg. Jace the Mind Sculptor, the card left over. As you do see Alex suspend in Ancestral Visions and pass. Jace comes into play very, very quickly for Greg. Greg is going to Brainstorm with that. But one thing you do see there is you see a Creeping Tar Pit there for Alex. So if Alex is able to draw another land here, Creeping Tar Pit can take care of that Jace. You see a Scalding Tarn there for Greg, and he just passes the turn back.
If he was able to Brainstorm, I would say the land is without doubt on top of his deck. But he managed to get a Wasteland anyway. So it looks like Jace could just bite the dust right here.
And you see him slide over.
He
also has a Maelstrom.
Yeah, he might be afraid of the Plowshares. He knows he saw a Plowshare earlier in the game. So maybe he just wants to make sure that resolves.
Sure.
Doesn't want Jace around for another turn.
Now you see another Ancestral Visions on suspend, and now Greg has to try to keep up with these. And that's definitely going to be difficult to do. Last card in Alex's hand is a Tarmogoyf. So you see Alex with a Wasteland, Tropical Island, Underground Sea, and a Creeping Tar Pit, which he can activate and start attacking Greg's life total with. 2 Ancestral Visions on Suspend that are going to be coming a few turns down the road, and a Tarmogoyf in Alex's hand. Greg just with some mana in play with 2 Tundras, 2 Islands, and a Volcanic Island. A Mystery card in his hand, and a Draw Step coming, which is a Sensei's Divining Top.
So a pretty good draw.
You see he's going to spin this right now. You see Enlightened Tutor, I believe, an Arid Mesa, and a Jace the Mind Sculptor on top.
So Enlightened Tutor can get a number of cards.
It can do anything.
It can do anything.
I can show you the world.
And here comes Jace. Is he going to Fate Seal now to make sure it doesn't die to...
That's the question.
Hopefully he remembers that the Creeping Tar Pit's in play.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to Fate Seal.
Yeah, he is going to Fate Seal. He's going to target Alex. He's going to let that go. He's going to pass the turn back. So now it's a race, right? It's a race. Let's see which card's better. Just the Mind Sculptor or Ancestral Vision?
Or double Ancestral
Vision.
Double
Ancestral Vision, Tarmogoyf. What's the draw there? Sensei's Divine Top.
Looks like a top.
How good are you, Jace the Mind Sculptor?
I mean, casting top and Goyfir isn't the worst. Yeah, it's gonna, Alex is in a tough spot right here because he's not gonna get rid of any of the loyalty counters on Jace. So, like you said, which is gonna be better. Generally, Jace wins this fight. So
somehow Jace wins the fight of Jace versus 2 Ancestral Vision Sensei Top Tarmogoyf Creeping Tar Pit. Was this a WWE handicap
only
match?
In Legacy?
This is absurd.
So yeah, we're a couple of turns away from that Vision's actually resolving anyway. So Greg's going to do some serious work here. We know he still has a Ancestral Enlightened Tutor on top of his deck, so he's close to setting up his at least one side of his combo with the Helm of Obedience. Alex has no cards in his hand, so...
You see top activation here. He has not used Jace yet this turn. You see a Sensei's Divine Top, an Arid Mesa, and that Enlightened Tutor that you spoke of. Tarmogoyf being a 5/6 right now, under consideration of maybe just unsummoning that, because Tar Pit still would not kill the Jace.
Yes.
Yep, and you are going to see unsummon here from Greg. And just pass the turn back. The top activation here from Alex on Greg's end step shows you Wasteland, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Shardless Agent, excuse me.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I guess he could hope to hit. Yeah, he's just gonna try to crack the Jace here.
Looking to legend rule Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that is going to happen.
And that's, pretty good hit because, Alex is going to be drawing 3 off of one of the Ancestral Vision next turn.
Yep. Greg
Greg has no cards in his hand. We know he has an Enlightened Tutor on top of his deck. Yeah, not much else. So it looks like we're going to get an Enlightened Tutor here.
Now, what is he going to search for? I have almost no idea.
I mean, Counterbalance can,
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon's pretty good.
What?
Hello, lady. Forgot he had that one in his deck.
I did as well. and I'm looking at Alex's deck list. There are no basics.
So yeah, you're gonna draw a lot of cards off those Ancestral Visions, but it doesn't matter too much.
You see Counterspell, Energy Field, and a mystery card there from Greg's top.
Wow,
you see Blood Moon, and your
play.
Turn. Well, Greg's going to have to pick up the pace there. You see the clock. We're under 7 minutes. He's down a game. I got no idea how we're going to finish the third one here, but...
Does Alex have any answers to Blood Moon?
Oh.
He has a Sensei's Divining Top?
Yeah, he can activate top a bunch. He can cast no spells.
Yeah, I mean, Alex has to start considering just conceding right here.
Yeah.
Actually, Greg has to figure out a way to win.
Yeah, Greg actually has to figure out a way to win. You can see Greg has accelerated his pace of play a lot. now that he has Blood Moon in play. Now this is going to resolve another Ancestral Visions here. And all of this is cute and adorable, but he can't do anything.
Yeah. Alex is basically just hoping to time out his opponent. He's going to start topping a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you see,
he's not doing anything illegal.
No, you see his pace of play is perfectly fine. You know, Greg doesn't know that Alex can't do anything.
Yeah.
So Alex can simply feign like he can do something here.
Yeah, and I don't see Alex playing any faster or any slower, rather.
Yeah, his pace of play has stayed the exact same.
Yeah. He will top every turn, though.
Yeah.
Granted, the fact that we know Alex can't do anything makes the fact that he's topping every turn somewhat comical, but again, he's not doing anything illegal.
Hey, the clock is just one part of magic.
Yeah, sometimes your opponent times out. Sadly, there's no chat screen where you can say GG.
Yeah. So you see, Greg is going to play a Vendilion Click.
Right.
I'm going to target myself, and this is a real clock now.
So finally I have a clock. So now Alex might just so he
force
does
a will.
Force.
Yeah, counter it.
Wow. So that's huge.
This is called playing to win.
Yeah.
This is the exact definition of it. As you see, Sensei's dividing top.
So Greg maybe playing a little too quick. Should have.
Maybe playing a little sloppy.
Because he could have set up the force next turn. I actually love the fact that Alex is topping every turn.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's not doing anything illegal, and Greg doesn't know that he doesn't have any basics in his deck. So, might as well just top again.
Take a look. Shucks, no basic.
And if anyone at home is questioning this play, how many times have you tried to out-time someone on Moto? Please. It happens every day on Moto.
Yeah.
Thousands of times.
Blame
Watsy for making Sensei's divining top.
hey, this is just one of the parts of competitive magic, honestly. And this is just
angle shooting.
Yeah. Hey, this is using the clock. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He's absolutely doing nothing illegal right now.
Alex is saying, it's not my fault you're playing this stupid deck.
Your deck should be able to kill me.
Yeah. There are certain decks you can't play on Moto because you get timed out. You know, same thing in real life sometimes.
Yeah. And you can definitely see. I mean, I think Greg understands that Alex can't do anything. He's pretty well aware of how bug agent decks work, and you don't see any complaining from Greg.
No, Greg's playing as fast as he can. Alex isn't doing anything slow. He's just topping every turn. That's it. He's not even topping slowly. He's just topping. That's it. He's just making an action.
He's topping. He's playing his
making
lands.
sure he's not to discard, and then playing a land.
Greg untaps. He draws. Greg's certainly trying to win this game to get to the draw. You see, Greg actually has a top every turn,
and he's not hitting any. You're not seeing a Helm of Obedience, and that's really all he needs. He's just digging for a Helm of Obedience right here to win the game. But and I don't believe he has a white source to actually use an Enlightened Tutor either. But he only has, I think, one in his deck, which I believe he already used. So, I mean, the thing is though, there's still 3 minutes left, a little over 3 minutes, and again, he can win right away with the Helm of Obedience.
Yeah.
So
once he finds a way to win, it's over.
This, granted, he could time out, but he could still win out of nowhere. So Alex just continuing to do what he's doing. Counting his hand, checking the discard, passing the turn.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to discard. Greg says that's fine. Greg just immediately and you can see like both players are shortcutting right now because they're going to go fast. Greg is taking his top card and just putting it immediately into his hand and just topping. He's leaving his Tundra tapped. Yeah. He's just like, okay, like I know what my top card is. I'm just going to draw it. Look for the next 3. Keep moving.
And he doesn't have, and he's not even getting like a brainstorm or anything
to
dig a little deeper. And he can't use any of his sack lands because of the Blood Moon. So he's basically just seeing the same 3 cards. He's just seeing 1 card deeper.
Yep.
Because that Terminus has been on top of his library forever. So, Alex tops again. I really love Alex's play this game.
His turn to taking all of 10 seconds.
Alex is not yet. Greg still doesn't see a Helm of Obedience.
It would be worse. There's 2 ways to look at it, right? Like you could be mad that Alex is top right now, or Alex could just be like, Alex could have his head in his hands.
Yeah.
Just be going, man.
Alex could be playing a lot slower.
Yeah. I wish I could. I have outs. I just have to figure out what they are.
Yeah. I mean. He could basically play slower until Greg calls a judge and asks for slow play.
Yeah.
But I think Alex's play is reasonable.
I think reasonable is putting it. I mean, I think his play is more than reasonable.
Yeah.
As you see, rest in peace here from Greg. Greg going to play another top here. So graveyards are gone. So now all he needs to do is find the Helm of Obedience, and it's a wrap. And how many Helmet Beans does he have in his deck?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah, so it's, I'm not sure how live he is, it's still a one-outer, but he only has one click in his deck, too, so he might have boarded in a second. But,
126 on the clock, marathon session we go.
It is, I gotta say,
there's a brainstorm.
This is the most exciting do-nothing match.
And of course, Alex can't find Forcible. We know he has 2 in his main deck, and he's already cast 1. Bunch of tops coming into play from Greg. So, he certainly has a card that he can find, the Forcible that he cast earlier.
Well, but Greg does have a counterspell in his hand, and he has 2 blue mana. So it looks like the Helm is live. It's going to be live if he gets there.
Tick, tick, tick. A race against the clock.
Less than a minute.
Yeah.
This is pretty exciting for.
There's a Jace.
A Jace. There we go. It's gonna take more time off the clock.
Alex draws, tops. I'm even looking at the clock for his turns. Literally 7-second turns.
Not taking very long at all.
Greg draws Greg's topping. He draws his cards.
Ooh, intriguing. Oh, he doesn't have double white.
He doesn't. No.
Wow.
Only single white. Yeah, he's got to take that Jace, right?
I think he's got to take the Jace. Can he cast it or?
Yeah, he's got plenty of blue mana. I think you got to cast Jace. Draw a card. Play a counterbalance, but to further lock things up.
1-0 is time.
We'll get a notification as soon as we're on turn 0. I'm surprised he didn't catch Jace here. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he wouldn't catch Jace, but Jace isn't exactly a win condition now, but it'll allow him to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, let's dig a little bit deeper because he looked at 3, he puts 2 back, and the third card's going to be a new one, so it actually lets us see 4 cards a turn to find that Helm of Obedience in time. So I'm a little bit surprised to not see Jace be cast.
He does have a second.
Oh, they have a 3-minute time extension.
Oh, that's not nearly as exciting.
Yeah, when they did the Oracle text lookup in Game 1 for Energy Field, they probably got an extension, so they have 3 additional minutes. So put 3 more minutes on the clock, dealer.
All right, so it looks like Jace could actually just win this game then.
You sound upset about that.
Jace
Mind Sculptor's boring. Boo.
It was a lot more exciting when we thought he didn't have enough time for Jace to win the game, and it was down to only Helm of Obedience. Or drawing the second planes to cast the Entreat.
Sure. So Greg is actually fate sealing himself now, moving some cards around, topping, drawing a card top. He's just moving around like crazy. Was that another planes?
Many shenanigans. Oh, there's a second plane, so Entreat is live.
2 and 3. Force of Will for Alex.
Don't think it'll be enough. He's got a counterspell. Greg doesn't even
with
have
how
to.
fast Greg is playing right now.
You think he might be playing a little too loose?
He could be playing a little loose. And
I think those 2 islands and planes aren't coming anywhere near the. I think those 2 islands all the way at the left aren't coming near the getting used to cast Entreat.
All right. You sound confident.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, it looks like he. Okay, so Entreat goes on the top.
Yep. He'll probably destroy it on the unstep with Sensei's on top.
Yeah. Only needs to make 5 guys. Move the planes over. He has double counterspell.
About 500 guys.
No need for that. You can make 5 guys and still have double counterspell. So it looks like look, you see, it looks like he's
sliding some things over.
Exactly that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, he's able to make 5 guys with double counterspell.
Draw a card.
Draws a card.
I need a miracle right now.
And Alex has a Force of Will, but sadly, it will not be enough.
Force of Will, Greg says absolutely not. Counterspell that. Greg has another counterspell at the ready too. Yeah. So
it looks like he only made 3 guys. I'm not sure why he held back the 2 mana. Maybe for a spell pierce, but obviously Alex can't cast that. So.
Sure. Fate seal you.
Pass the turn back.
Yep. Alex is going to pack it up.
So it looks like they're going to go to draw 1/1 draw.
I can't imagine them trying to start a third game, but I've seen stranger things happen. As you do see both players shuffling here.
Alex does not look pleased.
Hey, sometimes you get blood mooned.
Yeah. So it looks like the judge is just handing the slip.
Yeah.
We're gonna
saying that is it. Yeah, you guys are in turns. By the time you guys even present, you're not even going to get to actually be able to do it. So
yeah. Greg can't win in this amount of time.
No.
You're allowed 3 minutes to shuffle, so there's no reason for